All right, well, happy Tuesday, guys. Hopefully, yesterday you were able to really solidify what the difference between figurative and literal language is with the instruction from yesterday. So, today I wanted to start with the Unit 6 overview of figurative language. And what you're looking at there is the different lessons within the figurative language unit. So we're going to start on the left with the elements of figurative language. So what types of figurative language, we need to be aware of. And then we're going to talk about imagery. Then we are going to move into poetry structure. Yes, I know figurative language is more than just in poetry, but it's most prevalent in poetry. So we're also going to be studying poetry. So we're going to talk about the structure of poetry. We're going to learn about types of poetry along with that. And then we're going to put all of that together, all four of those lessons learning together to be able to analyze poetry and music. So the final assessment for this unit, you'll get to either choose a song or a poem to analyze and to present on that you will know, how to put all of those different elements together with the structure to be able to analyze a piece of poetry or music, okay? So I just like to give that overview to kind of let you know where we're going along the way so that, you know what the final outcome will be. So it's really, really important that you're doing your work on Mondays and Tuesdays when you are not in the classroom for the figurative language unit, because everything that you do there, you're going to be applying to your analysis later on. So you're going to need that information that you're learning, those skills, to apply to your poetry analysis. So just keep that in mind. So a couple pieces of vocabulary. There's an attached note sheet to this PowerPoint that you should have open. And what you're going to do is you're going to be typing all of the mint green writing into that note sheet. So at the top of that note sheet, there's a couple of vocabulary words that really you learned yesterday in your lesson, but I want you to go ahead and type in that literal language means exactly what you say. And if you look next to that, there's a box that says figurative language. Figurative language means to say one thing but imply or mean something else. So if you need to pause this video in order to write those or type those two different vocabulary definitions into your note sheet, go ahead and do that now. So our lesson essential question for today is, what are the elements of figurative language? And that's really what we're going to be focusing on, throughout this lesson today. So there's many types of figurative language, and many of these you've studied before in elementary school. We're going to look at similes, metaphors, personification, alliteration, and onomatopoeia. So figurative language, you need to understand it, identify it, and to use it in your writing, okay? So it doesn't just help you as a reader, it also helps you as a writer, okay? So let's take a look at simile. Again, this is in the mint green writing, which lets you know that you need to put that into the definition box in your note sheet for simile. A simile compares two things by using like or as. So go ahead and pause this here if you need to take a moment to type that into your note sheet. So here's some examples of similes. Chrissy is as pretty as a picture. That is comparing Chrissy to a picture. Her eyes sparkle like the stars in the sky. So this is comparing her eyes to the stars. Here's another one. This example is on your note sheet. Marty's feet smell like rotten fish. It's comparing feet to rotten fish. Here's another one. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. This is comparing life to a box of chocolates. Here's another one. He ran down the field like a freight train. And this is comparing the player, he, to a freight train, okay? And then finally here, she was quiet as a mouse. So comparing her to a mouse. Here is a simile. The muscles on his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. So this is comparing the muscles to iron bands, okay? So those are some examples. Now, take a minute to write your own simile on your note sheet. So you see that you have your own block to do that. If you can't come up with one on your own, you can go back and use one of the other examples that were given in the slide, but try to come up with one of your own. Next is metaphor. A metaphor is the process of describing one thing as if it were another, okay? So you're basically calling something that it's not, all right? So you are writing the lime green definition into the metaphor box in your note sheet. So a metaphor is used to compare two unlike things. You infer that they're being compared, okay? It does not use like or as. If it uses like or as, it is a simile. If it does not use like or as, it is a metaphor. All right, it just states that it is this thing. So here are some examples. The road was a ribbon wrapped through the desert. John's mind is a computer. My mom is a workhorse, okay, meaning that this person's mom works really hard. Bob is a snake in the grass, meaning that Bob is like sneaky, right? Okay, so Ginger is an angel. That means she's sweet. Our project is almost finished. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So this is comparing their finished project to light at the end of the tunnel. He had butterflies in his stomach. He carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, okay? So write your own metaphor on your note sheet. So this is where you want to take some time to write a metaphor or go back in your slides here and use one of the other examples. Personification. Personification gives the qualities of a person to an animal, an object, or an idea. So remember, a person's qualities. So a cup, say, couldn't have a person's qualities for literally, okay? So keep that in mind. Here are some examples. The sun peeked over the mountaintops. Only one lonely slice of pizza remained. Piece of pizza can't be lonely, can it? Only people can be. After a long days of work, the swimming pool was calling my name. The pool's not really calling your name. The wind yells while blowing. The soft gray hands of sleep toiled all night long to spin a beautiful garment of dreams. So this is an entire poem, and I highlighted gray hands because here they're personifying the gray hands, saying that they're working, toiling and working and spinning, okay? Hands can't really work and spin, okay? People can. So write your own example of personification on your note sheet or use another one of the examples that was in the slides that I just showed you. Next is alliteration. Go ahead and type this into your definition box. This is the repetition of the same consonant sound at the beginning of two or more closely associated words for effect. You might know this as tongue twisters. Some of tongue twisters, most of them have alliteration. So let's take a look at some example. Like loads of laundry lying on the lovely linoleum. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Those creepy crawly critters caused a cramp in my cranium. She was wide-eyed and wondering while she waited for Walter to waken. So write your own alliteration example on your note sheet or use one of the examples given. Onomatopoeia is a word that imitates the sound it represents. So take a minute and type that into your note sheet as your definition for onomatopoeia. The sound makes you think of their meaning. The water gurgled as it flowed down the drain. The storm clouds rumbled across the sky. It seemed everyone was sniffling during the cold and flu season. That's interesting sound effect. Swoosh went the basketball through the hoop. Bang went the gun. Buzz, murmur, or boo, thump, pop. Okay, here we have stomp, squeak. Okay, those are all onomatopoeias. Write your own onomatopoeia on your note sheet, and rather than just writing an onomatopoeia, a sound, I want you to write it within a sentence. Okay. All right, so there are some other figurative language elements or types of figurative language. We're going to just quickly review them, but we're not going to actually write anything about them. Okay, so the one's hyperbole, and that's just an exaggeration. Okay, some examples of that are the math classes are a million billion miles away. Okay, I'm so hungry that I could eat a horse. Those are extreme exaggerations. I nearly died from laughing. There's another one. And then we have idioms. Idioms are an expression that can't be understood from the meaning of its separate words, but it must be learned as a whole. So they're kind of like sayings, in other words. So some examples of those are put a sock in it, break a leg, and it's raining cats and dogs. Those are just things that people say. They're not really exaggerations. They're just sayings that you kind of have to know to understand. So we will be talking about those types of things too, but we're really going to focus on those main elements that we took notes on. So we're going to practice with this figurative language. So you're going to go into Schoology and you're going to complete the Identify the Figurative Language activity that's in today's folder. Again, as always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Again, I'm teaching all day long, so I do not get a break until close to 1:30 in the afternoon. So, it's 1:30 till sometimes I get to look at your messages. So I apologize, if you message me in the morning and I didn't get a chance to get back to you till afternoon when I'm not, teaching classes. So, just continue to reach out to me and I will answer your messages. So I'm excited to see you guys on Thursday. Have a great day. Bye.